Hi there, I'm Tracy Smith, and this is Here Comes the Sun, a closer look at some of the people, places, and things we bring you every weekend on Sunday morning. In our first story this week, Lesley Stahl sat down with three of Hollywood's most elite leading ladies who play three of history's most intriguing first ladies.
Tell us how it came about and why you wanted to do it.
Why I wanted to do it in the beginning and then why I wanted to do it once I got on the set, where I'm like, why the hell did I want to do this? I wish I had a better answer. It's a chance for women to play roles that are complicated. And who these women were beyond, the images that we saw on television, I was like, are you kidding me? We can get these really awesome actresses every single season, and they'll have the ability to shine.
More exclusive excerpts from that conversation coming up a little later in the show.
Did Eleanor Roosevelt have a relationship, a lesbian relationship with Lorena Hickok?
I mean, there's a book of their letters which exists, which are unbelievably intimate. I think that there is a strong belief that that they were, and it certainly wasn't admitted to at any time.
Then David Pogue tries to demystify the sometimes mysterious world of cryptocurrency.
It's gonna be $9.79.
Do you take Bitcoin?
No, unfortunately we don't.
Do you take Bitcoin?
No.
Do you take Bitcoin?
No.
One of the few stores that accept Bitcoin directly is the P.J. Bernstein Deli in New York. You take Bitcoin?
Actually, we do, sir.
You do?
That's all coming up right here on Here Comes the Sun. Their names ring out with historical and cultural significance. Eleanor Roosevelt, Betty Ford, Michelle Obama. Giving them their due was quite a challenge for the women who portray them: Gillian Anderson, Michelle Pfieffer, and Viola Davis. Lesley Stahl met up with all three.
Michelle Pfieffer plays Betty Ford.
The ERA has never been concerned with making women the same as men, just equal to. I didn't know how much she had done behind the scenes and how really politically active she actually was.
Viola Davis plays Michelle Obama.
In 4 years, I don't want to look back and think, what did I become living in that house?
She came into the relationship with her own agency and autonomy. And then all of a sudden, she sort of had to trade it in, to become First Lady.
Add some hope to it, but he needs to state the facts plain and simple. There are 30 million Americans out of work, and they don't want to be pandered to.
Gillian Anderson plays Eleanor Roosevelt.
I'd admired her for such a long time. I didn't quite understand why they asked me. I'm 5'3", and she was close to 6 foot. And I kept saying, are you sure? Like,
Yeah, but
really?
you don't look teeny on television.
But I fell so in love with her in the process and was so glad that I said yes.
The portraits of these first ladies air in a 10-part series on Showtime, a division of CBS's parent company, Paramount Global.
Don't push me off. I am your wife, not one of your girlfriends.
At first glance, these first ladies seem to have little in common.
I have done everything I was supposed to do!
But
Even though they all obviously existed in different historical times, one of the really strong themes that runs throughout the series is finding their voice, their struggle to be heard.
So you let him off.
He accepted the pardon. That is an admission of guilt.
Without consequences for his actions.
I was surprised and frankly thrilled that so much of this series takes place in the bedrooms, where the intimacy of the first family is portrayed for us. And I just want to go through some of the scenes that stick out in my mind. And one, Michelle, is when Jerry Ford pardons Nixon, and Betty is livid. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's the angriest that we see her.
Yeah, you were seething.
You know that this makes us look complicit, don't you? Like we're part of the cover-up.
She had made a promise to the American people that this family would always be truthful. And I think she held Jerry to such a higher standard that she really, really believed in her mind that he was going to do the right thing. And I don't...
Because Jerry thought he was doing the right thing.
Well, he thought he was doing the right... He thought he was doing the... Well...
He thought he was healing the country, and he knew
He
it was
did.
going to hurt him politically. But she was offended.
Because she felt that it tainted the family, the honor of the family, and the integrity of the family.
I'm saying that I can contribute.
And I'm saying, with all due respect, that you're not qualified.
Excuse me?
I don't want you to become a liability to your husband, is all.
But you were more than happy to pip me out during the campaign.
The campaign is over. This is politics.
In more behind-the-scenes moments, the series takes some dramatic license. Viola, one of the scenes that keeps resonating in my mind was how hostile the relationship between Michelle Obama and Rahm Emanuel was. I didn't realize it was that intense.
Well, I think we took liberties. I actually don't believe that Michelle would, cuss out Rahm Emanuel. I think that Michelle stayed in her lane.
Well, if Michelle would stay in her lane, why was the decision made that she would not be portrayed that way?
Because you know that once you get to that White House as the first black president and the first black lady, you know what you're up against.
Look, Rahm thinks that...
Stop right there. You tell your work wife that your actual wife said to stay out of our family business.
Got it. Now I have 2 wives and neither of them are happy.
It's like the famous quote, we wear the mask that grins and lies. So I'm saying that there is a protocol that Michelle is aware of. But with Rahm, we took some liberties. We did, for dramatic purposes.
3, 2, 1.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
You see each of the first ladies grow in their public roles.
She hated public speaking.
The cabinet is convening.
And yet she did it anyway. She really, really believed that what she had to say was so much more important than anything that was going on for her and her fears and her self-doubt.
My doctor advised me that the source of my pain, it was actually much deeper. And he thought it might be a good idea for me to see a psychiatrist.
What was the moment when you said, I get this woman?
And it was.
I can play her.
I saw my mother in her, and I was very moved by that, by women of that generation. Revolutions were happening all around them, but they had made a pact already to really live for their husband's ambitions and fulfillments and support them. And all of a sudden, the rules of the game change on them, and they were too far in to reverse course.
It was so terrible to have a black family in this house that they elect him.
This is not about us.
Isn't it?
In a way, Viola Davis had the greatest challenge.
Everyone knows who Michelle Obama is. They know what she looks like. They know what she sounds like. They love her. If she had been dead for 100 years, do you know what I'm saying?
I do know exactly what you're saying.
And it behooved me to look at her behavior, her hands, how she holds her pearls, how she holds her lips. It's like all of that work before I could even get to what happened in the White House.
You are gonna be a dope first lady.
Viola Davis feels a special responsibility for the series.
Fashion shoots, gardening. You want me to be roasted alive as being elitist and out of touch?
She's one of the executive producers. Tell us how it came about and why you wanted to do it.
Why I wanted to do it in the beginning and then why I wanted to do it once I got on the set, where I'm like, why the hell did I want to do this? I wish I had a better answer. It's a chance for women to play roles that are complicated. And who these women were beyond, the images that we saw on television, I was like, are you kidding me? We can get these really awesome actresses every single season, and they'll have the ability to shine.
So there will be more seasons with new casts of First Ladies shining more light on the struggles, emotions, and influence of these important figures in American history.
They really are the unsung heroes, working behind the scenes and working for social justice. They had the courage to really listen to what they felt was just.
There's more from their talk coming up in just a few minutes. Up next, it's polarizing, volatile, and fascinating. We take a deep dive into cryptocurrency. No doubt you've heard of cryptocurrency, but do you really know what it is and how it works? David Pogue is here to help with a crash course in Crypto 101.
If you haven't heard of crypto, you clearly haven't been watching TV lately.
Cryptocurrencies, for the most part, in the green today.
Crypto.
I don't think so.
If you're not quite sure what crypto is or what you're supposed to do with it, in the next 7 minutes, you will learn everything there is to know about crypto that's possible to learn in 7 minutes. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Number 1, Bitcoin was only the first crypto. Crypto is short for cryptocurrency. Bitcoin was the original one, and it's still by far the most popular, but there are over 10,000 different cryptocurrencies. Anyone can start one up. Number 2, they're purely digital currencies. If you go to Google Images and you type in Bitcoin, you get thousands and thousands of pictures of physical metal coins. Don't be fooled. The only place you can see cryptocurrency is on your phone or on your computer screen. The only cash register is the internet. Number 3, crypto is not easy to spend. This is another reason why Bitcoin may not strike you as a regular currency. For now, you'll have a really hard time spending it.
It's gonna be $9.79.
Do you take Bitcoin?
No, unfortunately we don't.
Do you take Bitcoin?
No.
Do you take Bitcoin?
No.
One of the few stores that accept Bitcoin directly is the P.J. Bernstein Deli in New York. You take Bitcoin?
Actually, we do, sir.
You do? Here's what it looks like to pay for lunch with crypto. So I'm gonna send 25 bucks. Do you have the little code thing? It's going to send me a verification code, which is 280-8216, and submit. Pleasure doing business with you.
Thank you so much.
Number 4, banks and governments aren't part of the chain. So crypto needs some trustworthy way to track all those transactions. And that is what the blockchain is. It's a theoretically tamper-proof public online database.
It's a new type of ledger where different parties who don't know each other and certainly don't trust each other actually can trust that that shared ledger is the so-called golden copy of all the data.
Caitlin Long is the CEO and founder of Custodia Bank, a bank for digital currencies. Can I see it?
All you need is an internet connection.
And sure enough, at websites like blockchain.com, you can look at the transactions happening in real time, all essentially anonymous. So if you can't really shop with cryptocurrencies, then what good is it? At this point, it's mostly an investment, a speculative one that got a big spike during the pandemic. Number 5, today, crypto is primarily for investors.
Oh, I think it's like probably the biggest bubble of our lifetime. I mean, I can't see why this just couldn't be worthless at some point. It's very possible.
Ryan Payne is the president of Payne Capital Management, a wealth management firm.
You think it's going to zero? There is no intrinsic value. Like, look, we use oil, even gold. Whereas with Bitcoin, there's no real use in society for it, which again, in my mind, equals could be worth nothing.
But traditional currency isn't based on anything physical either. A dollar bill has value only because we all believe that it does.
The good we use as money is a piece of linen with a picture of a dead president in green ink printed on it. For the last 50 years, nothing's been backing it substantially since the US and the rest of the world moved away from the gold standard. It just is an intermediary, that's all it is.
Number 6, you buy and sell crypto at exchange websites. This is what it looks like to buy $50 worth of Bitcoin at Coinbase.com, which is the largest US exchange. My email address, they send a verification email to me. Oh, they want my phone number now. Now it wants to know the code they just sent. Last 4 digits of my social security. Take a picture of my driver's license, bank PIN number, and password. $50, buy now, and I have successfully purchased 1/1000th of a Bitcoin. I'm rich, I tell you, rich! Number 7, most cryptocurrencies are volatile investments. I did all that. Last May, I bought some Bitcoin, and within 6 months, my money had more than doubled! And then it crashed almost all the way back down to where it started. Number 8, it's going to get easier.
It's very confusing. We're in the very, very early stages. I liken this to maybe the 1994 of the internet, and it will have a look and feel very much like your online banking.
Crypto has some other problems to overcome before it's ready for the mainstream. There are all kinds of scams. The transactions are slow. If you lose your crypto password, you can lose your entire investment. And crypto transactions can bypass the US financial sanctions on Russia. And there's a terrible environmental cost. Creating new Bitcoins and confirming their transactions require massive banks of computers burning vast amounts of power. By some estimates, every time you make a Bitcoin transaction, its network spews out 0.5 ton of carbon dioxide. I'm trying to figure out how you can look at the same facts as crypto fanatics and draw such different conclusions.
We love a great story. Bitcoin's a great story. Decentralized finance is a great story. So this is just human nature doing what it does over and over again, diluting itself. But we know based on history how these things end.
Caitlin Long could not disagree more.
It's not a perfect system by any stretch, but it's going to make things better, faster, cheaper, more secure, and frankly devolve power away from the big banks and even big governments towards the individual.
Number 9, crypto is polarizing. You can't believe how many haters and how many fanatics there are. But at this early stage in the life of crypto, everyone seems to agree on one thing.
I certainly would not ever encourage anyone to put more money into this than you can afford to lose.
My philosophy is just put money into it you can afford to lose.
What I find difficult about the role of the First Lady.
After the break, more from the First Ladies. Stay with us.
Checking your language, checking your dress.
Welcome back. As promised, here's more from Leslie Stahl's conversation with Gillian Anderson, Viola Davis, and Michelle Pfieffer.
Who would like to address what you learned, what you came to realize about what First Ladies go through? The burdens of the office, the stultifying aspect, the sense of loss of privacy, and the challenges, what it takes to be a First Lady. Does anybody want to talk about that?
You know, even though they all obviously existed in different historical times, they do have a lot in common. And, you know, one of the really strong themes that runs throughout the series is finding their voice. And they really are the unsung heroes because they are kind of working behind the scenes and working for social justice, working for what is just and what is right, and not really having to carry the burden of, you know, the sort of political fallout that it might have. And
yeah, but Betty did. I mean, watching the series,
there was political fallout.
Yes, exactly.
But they didn't have, you know, they had the courage to really, you know, listen to what they felt was just.
So many times in your portrayal, she refuses to hide behind any subterfuge. For example, when she has breast cancer and she has a mastectomy, and nobody wanted to say the word breast.
Right.
Forget cancer. I mean, you couldn't say that, but.
Right.
And she said, come on.
And do you know it was the #1 killer of women ages 40 to 45 at the time? And nobody was talking about it. Nobody was getting screened. It was so stigmatized. And she saved thousands of lives by just coming out and being honest about.
It was brave.
It was incredibly brave.
What I find difficult about the role of the First Lady is the protocol. It's the always checking yourself, checking your language, checking your dress, not being able to say what you want to say, not being able to be who you want to be, you know. And for me, with Michelle Obama, it's within a political structure that hadn't served people who look like us. And then all of a sudden you're in that house and you really have to fix your face. I'm sure. That's just my opinion. And I would think that that would be the most difficult thing. I find it hard at 56 to fix my face. I mean, at this point, I just want to say what I want to say, do what I want to do. So I can't even imagine.
No.
That being said, there is a protocol even within the African American community once you become successful. Even a line that these two extraordinary first ladies, that even privileges that they had, which you know they didn't have, their women, that wasn't even, you know, open to Michelle Obama. For instance, her wearing a short sleeve shirt and showing her arms.
See, criticized.
Or being called masculine, or a gorilla, or violent, or anti-white.
I agree with you. I think that first ladies live in terror. One hair out of place, and there's going to be 45 articles on the front page of newspapers and on television now.
Well, it was very different for Eleanor back then. You know, you didn't have social media in the same way. You didn't have, you know, she wasn't necessarily followed around by photographers. She walked everywhere. She, you know, and
she drove everywhere.
And she did have a hair out of place. I mean, if you look at a lot of their photographs, she was incredibly disheveled, but nobody cared. Nobody picked on her. Nobody brought attention to it. That wasn't important at that time. You know, our priorities and the degree of judgment about how women should present themselves has certainly shifted, I think, over time.
But the thing about your scene revolves around Lorena Hickok. And this is one of the great mysteries of American history. Did Eleanor Roosevelt have a relationship, a lesbian relationship with Lorena Hickok?
I mean, there's a book of their letters which exists, which are unbelievably intimate. I think that what we're showing is two women who have fallen into a deeply profound companionship that may or may not have become sexual, I think, based on the letters. It's not necessarily...
But in your series...
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, yes, in our series, yes. I mean, I think that there is a strong belief that, that they were, and it certainly wasn't admitted to at any time.
I'm Tracy Smith. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you here next time on Here Comes the Sun.